Welcome to PR Masters. If you see my screen, you'll see a Mentimeter screen up there. So on the chat, you'll see a link to go on that. I want you guys to go on the link and tell us what new skills have you learned during the pandemic, which can be applied to Toastmasters. Just curious. Hopefully the answers will show up. Zoom and beyond. Ooh, this is interesting. Remote coordination, breakout rooms. Framing, huh? What is framing? Who answered framing? I would be curious to know what that is.
That was me. Framing within your screen, so knowing where your gestures can actually be seen is important. Framing within your window, also where your head is or not, that kind of thing.
That's
mid-frame, far frame, standing, mid-frame field.
Interesting. Breakout rooms, camera staring, lighting, resilience. Yeah, I feel like I learned a whole bunch about the overall video interaction. And I'm typically a person who does not like video stuff. Like I was one of the last few people to adopt into the Zoom and virtual calls culture. So I definitely had a lot to learn. Eye contact, yeah, that's a good one. And I really struggle with that, to be honest. That's kind of like one of the fixed things I always get in my Toastmaster speech evaluations. You keep staring at the top left corner of the room. A lot of non-video stuff also, like patience, see resilience, exuberance. Good stuff. Multitasking video images, huh? That's an interesting one. Does someone want to talk about that? Whoever posted.
Well, sometimes you need to have more than one screen shared at the same time, and if you have multiple monitors trying to figure out which screen you're sharing at which time and what the rest of the audience is seeing. So that's multitasking.
Yeah, that's
bouncing back and forth between screens sometimes.
right. Yeah, got it. Timer cards, yeah. This took me 45 minutes to figure out. Not proud of that. Seemed pretty simple on paper, but not as easy as it looks like, huh? Camera placement, lighting, editing videos. Yep, that is something I need to learn.
I can help you with that because I had to do it for TV Toastmasters with our on-screen interviews.
Awesome, appreciate that.
It's a whole different skill set.
Yeah. I'm sure a lot goes into the background. I've seen some of Eric's recorded videos with all the music and all that stuff. So yeah, that's a fun one. Gestures. Yep. Cybersecurity activity. Huh. What's that, I wonder?
Watching out for those
Zoom bombers?
the Zoom bombers and the zombies, the people who look like and act like they're not going to do anything, all of a sudden wake up and throw images out on the screen.
Yeah.
Hidden agendas.
That's why we don't reveal the Eventbrite link until the day before or something.
Yeah.
Hopefully that'll help.
There's still some bad people out there.
Yeah. Not clapping in Zoom. We still tend to do that. Or sometimes we do these jazz hands or something.
Phyllis, which software do you use for video editing?
Premiere Pro.
Okay. Yeah, I use a free software called Cyberlink Power Director, which has worked out pretty good.
Oh, good. I use that because it is recognized and used by the television station I submit to.
Ah,
Cut off overtime talkers. That's a good one. I'm sure Miranda can relate to that because she hosted DRPR Masters last time. Timer, cards, resilience. Zoom is front and center. That's interesting. Does that mean most people are, a lot of people are responding? Is that how it works? I don't know. Maybe that's how word cloud works. If you get multiple responses of the same word, that becomes front and center. That's all. I'm
that's it.
guessing. I'm guessing.
It'll make the words bigger the more the responses have repetition.
So does it also feel multiple people are responding? Patience, eye contact, lighting also? Maybe less than Zoom, but
Potentially, yes.
Yeah, you can
So
also
that
put
means that you could respond again and emphasize something you want to emphasize on that image.
got it.
I see my name got in there when I was trying to respond to Miranda.
Yeah. In case people are joining in, on the chat, you should see a link which takes you to this Mentimeter. So go ahead and respond, and your responses should show up on this word cloud, which we are seeing right now. So the question is, what Toastmaster skills have you learned during the pandemic? Or any skills which can be applied to Toastmasters or the online, virtual, social environment. Lots of interesting answers. I did learn a little bit of Canva, probably not as much as Marin and Jennifer, but baby steps. Okay, it's 7:02. Let's keep it going, but it's time to get the meeting officially started. With that, I'm gonna hand the virtual stage over to our Toastmaster for today, Miranda Moy. Miranda, take it away.
Thank you, Adam. Welcome all to our, I think this is our 5th meeting as a pre-chartered club of PR Masters. It's been very exciting. I would count myself a true, more than a novice when I first joined compared to the expertise of some of the people on this team. It's so exciting because it's turned out to be a super supportive learning environment. Everything from learning to share Google Docs to creating these agendas in real time with like 8 different people looking at it. It's quite energetic and quite exciting. We're so happy that you joined us today for this meeting, June 3rd, to get yourself in tune with PR. We are looking, I think, still for at least one more member so we can qualify to apply as a new club under charter status. I believe we're still looking for one more person. And of course, we'd love to have at least 20, maybe more than that in our application, which is it's going to be prepared probably in the next week or so. We have a very exciting meeting today. You will see during the meeting, we are going to place the application for anyone who'd like to be a charter member into the chat. And there'll be other opportunities for everyone here to actively participate by participating in the Mentimeter, as Adam has just showed us. It's quite an exciting, fun thing to do. A group, sort of a mini evaluation for our speaker. Today we have 2 speakers. We also have, of course, 2 very experienced evaluators, and we actually have international representation with our crew on today's agenda. We also have a representation across the United States, so it's pretty darn exciting. Well, our first opportunity is we're going to have our first speech with Jennifer Schmidt making her a speech here to our meeting. And I'd like to give Zeta O'Connor, who is our very well-equipped timer, a cue to get ready to begin timing. It's right now 7:04. It's a little earlier than we might have normally started the speech, but unless there's an objection, I think we can go ahead with speech number 1. Marcy and Jennifer, are you both ready?
Were you? I thought you were going to introduce Marcy. Sorry.
I'm going to introduce Marcy, and then she'll introduce your speech, and then I will give you the final introduction of your speech to begin. Okay? All right. Well, Marcy is a very experienced Toastmaster. She first joined Toastmasters in 2018, and she is one of the charter applicant members of PR Masters. She joins us from Region 4, District 42, where she has served as their public relations media master for the last 2 years. She's completed her visionary communication and innovative planning paths. That's a lot of paths there. Marcy will tell us about Jennifer's speech, introduce the basics of speech and of Jennifer's speech, and then I will introduce Jennifer to begin her speech to us. Marcy?
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters. Delighted to be here, and I'm excited to talk about Jennifer's project. Her project addresses the use of presentation software, from identifying topics that benefit from the use of technology to effective slide design and presentation. The purpose of the project is to introduce or review basic presentation software strategies for creating and using slides to support or enhance the speech. So she will be, her topic is talking about her work with voices this year, and she will use the content of the project and her research to develop her slides. Her speech is 5 to 7 minutes in length, 5 on green, 6 on yellow, and 7 on red. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcy. That was very energetically and enthusiastically done. Jennifer's speech, Voices Singing the Praises. Jennifer Schmidt, Voices Singing the Praises. Voices Singing the Praises, Jennifer Schmidt.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Voices singing the praises with the emphasis on the PR. We've all been here. We're excited about our Toastmasters Club, and we want to let the world know about it. But how do we do that? The problem is we need to get the word out, but instead of shouting from the rooftop, there is a better way. But if I was going to shout from the rooftop, this is what I would tell you. New Horizons is a fabulous club, and we want you to visit. Here is another way to go. Voices, District 7 Toastmasters Digital Monthly Magazine. It was established in August of 2014 and helps expand outreach beyond the club level and also has a worldwide readership. How does all this happen? Phyllis Harmon, the editor and publisher extraordinaire of Voices. Phyllis started Voices to help clubs have a new way to embrace the latest technology when she was district governor. This year alone, she has published 288 pages, which averages to over 50 pages per month. She does the designing, editing, advertising, and publishing every month. What's great about Voices is it's a complete view of the district in areas of leadership, communication, and district events. There's also links in there if you want to register for webinars and other events. It's really a wonderful resource. How did I get involved? Back in August of 2020, when I was the newly elected VP of Public Relations, I thought Voices was a great opportunity to get the word out about my club. Pictured here is the very first article I wrote for Voices when I described how our club was transitioning to a Zoom environment instead of being in person, and I shared tips on how we did that. Then I continued to pitch other story ideas. In January of this year, I was able to do a story about the smart investment of Toastmasters and compared the cost of what you get from Toastmasters versus similar programs. In February, I wrote about theme meetings. New Horizons is known for their Pirate Day and other theme meetings. And I shared tips on how clubs could plan their own theme meetings. I continued in March with an article about finding the time to lead with technology and how our club leadership team never had the opportunity to meet in person due to COVID. I described how we use different types of technology to communicate and work on various projects. I really love the graphic that Phyllis used. It really stands out. In addition, in April, we had Magical Katrina visit New Horizons. We had an open house, also considered a member event, someone who had been on Penn and Teller, and what her experience was as another aspect of our meeting. Our club ad was also featured at the end of each article. Okay, now this is a little bit of a teaser because I was progressing with my articles. First 1 page, 2 pages, and then 3 pages. What will this be? I'll let you know. Teasers are a lot of fun and very effective. Now the big question. That's great, Jennifer, but what about me? How does this help me? Well, you could submit stories to Voices too. Why would you want to do this? Because you want to attract attention. There are thousands of clubs, but what makes your club special? What expertise do you have? New Horizons is known for its theme meetings. That's our expertise. You would be engaging members because when you write stories, you're talking about your members' accomplishments, and that engages them. Then once the story is published, you're doing ongoing promotion. So it doesn't stop at Voices. You can promote your article on LinkedIn and Facebook and have your members post it and hopefully recruit more members. Before you submit your approved story idea, though, you have to think like an editor. An editor that is producing over 50 pages per month needs well-written copy. Have someone who's good at editing look your story over and then send it. Remember, write about subjects that could appeal to all Toastmasters and not just your club. Information that would help other clubs too. Also, if you have any high resolution photos, send those as well. Lastly, the deadline is the 15th of the month. Of course, you could always send your story earlier than the 15th, but not later. Okay, you're excited. You have this great magazine, lots of fantastic graphics and information. So what do you do next? You can contact Phyllis Harmon at voices@d7toastmasters.org. I've also included the website for Voices page, so you can look at it over to make sure that you're not suggesting stories for Voices that have been done recently. Then there's the district websites. Every district has a website. There are 121 of them, and they all advertise in different ways, and you'll find lots of ideas there. Some districts feature their own magazines, podcasts, blogs, and newsletters. Lastly, if you have any questions for me, you can contact me at writerjenniferschmidt@gmail.com. Now it's time for the big reveal. It's me. I'm on the cover of the May issue of Voices. And if you would have told me back in August of 2020 that I would have been on the cover in May, I wouldn't have believed you. I think it's fantastic that I have the opportunity to be on the cover, and it's fun to share because it was about my contest experience from January through April. And I'm hoping it helps others who want to compete in contests. But what I really like about it is how my journey progressed. I have a lot of great clips now. A lot of people know about New Horizons, and I feel like there's a lot of good information out there about the club. But it doesn't have to be about New Horizons. It could be about your club. You just have to pitch your ideas, write a good story, take great pictures, and promote your club. And this is an excellent way to do it. Thank you, Phyllis Harmon, for all your great work with Voices, Mar and Zeba for your superb editing skills, and all my fellow club members from New Horizons. I couldn't have done this without all of you. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Jennifer. Thank you, Jennifer. Before I ask us all to place more comments into the Mentimeter, I'm going to ask Zeta O'Connor, Dr. Zeta O'Connor, who is serving ably today as our timer, to introduce herself real briefly, and then I'll ask Zeta to give us 1 minute to add items to the Mentimeter. Zeta, would you give us a brief introduction about you and Toastmasters? Like 30 seconds?
30 seconds.
Please.
Of course. I started Toastmaster in 2012. One of my hula dancers invited me. I used to dance hula in California to Toastmaster. And since I'm bilingual, so I have a lot of improvement in my accent, so it helps me. Lecturing is totally different than public speaking, and I'm still learning even now. I'm trying to be very aware of my accent because I speak 2 languages, and I love Toastmaster. They became, all the members in the club that I've been, they became like my second family and friends, and that's where I developed a lot of relationship and I have improved leadership, improved my speaking skills and other things.
Thank you,
Back
Zeta.
to you.
Thanks for doing those great panels for timing today. Would you give us a minute and let's add some more items to the Mentimeter chat. And I think we're still focused, Adam, is that correct, on the first question? What have you learned during the pandemic, a new skill or otherwise?
This time it's about Jennifer's speech.
Jennifer's
So
speech.
I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen. Is that okay, Madam
Yeah.
Toastmasters?
Okay.
Thank you. So I just dropped a link on the chat. Oh. And I would love to learn more about what you guys thought about Jennifer's speech any descriptions? I'm going to time myself, so at 1 minute. Okay, inspiring stands out right off the bat. Cover girl, that's for sure. Textual, good slides. Um,
Shall I start 1 minute now or?
I started my own time. I'm timing myself.
Okay.
Yep. Thank you. Interesting, informative. Yeah, cover girl is now front and center, so a lot of people are coming up with that. Inspiring, like the pictures. Overall, yeah, I felt like inspiring definitely encompasses what people would typically think of the speech. So really informative and inspiring. Definitely agree with that there. Captivating, good writing. Okay, according to my iPhone timer, my time is up. Keep the comments coming. I'll keep the link active and I'm gonna stop sharing for now and we can review all of this later on towards the end of the meeting. Thank you all so much.
Fantastic.
Back to Miranda. Thank you.
Thank you. I'm trying to carefully watch the agenda so I keep all the most important parts in the meeting as intended. Zeta, I'm going to ask you to please give us the first timer report, and that would be telling us the length of Jennifer's speech. Please.
On Jennifer's speech, I have 7 minutes and 36 seconds. And of course, 1 minute for our Mentimeter.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for tracking that. Being a timer is more than a multitasking job. It's like you've got devices, you've got people to watch, you've got facial expressions, and then you've got actual speakers to gently corral if the need should arise to show that red panel. All right. Without further ado, we have a next section that's very exciting. It's a mini table topic section presented by Mr. Dave Shehorn called, well, I'll let Dave say what it is. Dave Shehorn, tell us about your section on the blank blank pitch.
Well, the idea of having a 10-second pitch gives everybody an opportunity to participate. So if you want to participate, raise your hand using the reactions. But what I want to do is explain to you why pitch is so important. Pitch means many different things to many different people from various professions and backgrounds. In Merriam-Webster's online dictionary, there are 61 unique definitions and uses of pitch. So just to stay in tune tonight, I propose that we concentrate on just 3 of the definitions of the usage of pitch: to present or advertise, to attempt to persuade, or to set to work on energetically. So please limit your response to about 10 seconds, but name a commercial pitch that you have seen that you thought was effective. Bonus, express a variation of that that could be equally effective for the PR messaging. So anybody want to raise their hand, or I'm going to start calling on people? Peter DeGraff, think of the commercial.
Shall I start a 6-minute time now?
Yes.
Okay.
Thank you, Zeta.
Mr. Tabletop Master, fellow Toastmasters. The slogan came to mind. Just do it. You all probably all know that one from Nike. How does that apply to Toastmasters? The number one fear is the fear of speaking. When we just do it, that fear starts to subside. Mr. Toastmaster, Tabletop Toastmaster.
All right. So use the reaction, raise your hand, or I'm going to start calling on you. Eric Winger, what commercials do you remember? Just name one commercial.
Where's the beef? David, where's the beef?
The beef is what you make it. Okay, that's a good one. Jennifer Schmidt, 10 seconds.
Slinky. Slinky, Slinky, it's a wonderful toy.
It's a wonderful toy. All right. I'm going to go back to the Eisenhower administration. I'm going to call on Rusty Lee because he was watching TV during Eisenhower's reign. Come on, Rusty.
No, I don't think I was watching TV back then. I was busy playing stickball out in the streets.
One commercial.
Eric stole mine. I was thinking, where's the beef?
Okay, I'm looking for a hand raised. We've got one. Okay, Trish Adams.
What about Rolos? You can roll up
Rolos.
Rolo.
Yeah, that's a good one. Fred Bergeron.
How about hump day?
Say it again.
Can you hear me first?
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
I said, how about the camel commercial where he says hump day?
Oh, hump day. Okay. All right. Okay. Anybody else? I'm going to go to my second screen since we have two screens full.
I got one. How many licks does it take to get to the middle of a Tootsie Pop?
Ooh. And how does that apply to Toastmasters and PR Masters?
You know what? You can't count how many licks it takes. You got to keep practicing and you got to keep licking different Tootsie Pops before you actually get to the middle. And with Toastmasters, you got to keep practicing.
Yeah, practice, practice, practice. That's the only way to get there. How about Yasmin? Have you got any ideas about any kind of commercial you've seen on TV or any pop up on your screen?
Yeah, well, it's like, yeah, the one I can think of is in Hindi actually. It says Do Boond Zindagi Ke, which in English would mean 2 drops of life and 2 drops for life. And this was used during the polio campaign. It's just the 2 drops can save the life.
Okay. And when I was getting my polio vaccine, it was a sugar cube. So it was 2 drops on a sugar cube. Anybody else? I'm not seeing any hands on the second page. Oh, there we go. Bridget Starmans.
This is silly. I'm a pepper, you're a pepper. I hated Dr. Pepper, but I love the dance.
It was a good commercial, that's for sure. Okay. So what can we do in Toastmasters and PR Masters to make the pepper upper?
Well, part of the lyrics say it all. I'm part of an original crowd, and we're all trying to find our own voices in Toastmasters. So we're all trying to be original.
All right. So it's good.
Deanna McEnroy's had her hand up a couple times.
Oh, okay. Deanna? Oh.
Thank you, Deanna.
Okay.
Feel free to drop your answer in the chat as well.
Okay. How about Lisa? Lisa Blue.
After these messages, we'll be right back. I don't know if any of you remember that from USA Saturday morning cartoons.
Okay.
To me, with Toastmasters, it means, like we're dropping messages on each other left and right, and then we just keep coming back.
Okay. How about Bob from Babylon?
Thank you, Toastmasters, everybody here at PR. The commercial that came to mind and always comes to mind when I see it, and I think of Toastmasters because so many of us want to be able to be inspirational and give pitches, is the Geico commercial where they talk about, they introduce Pinocchio as a failed motivational speaker who says, everyone has potential. You, sir, have potential. You, sir, have potential. And then Pinocchio's nose begins to grow always works for me. Really doesn't have all that much to do with insurance, but it's very effective.
Yeah, right. It's quite memorable. How about Maren? 10 seconds.
Oh, it melts in your mouth, not in your hand. Our thoughts in our head, and Toastmasters, they come out of our mouth.
Oh, good. How about Adam?
I'm gonna go for like a good neighbor. State Farm is here, and the way it relates to Toastmasters is, even though we're not neighbors, I get the feeling that whenever I have any PR issues, I have this big awesome mastermind to reach out to, like in terms of like they're always there for me. So that's kind of how it relates to PR masters. Thank
Good,
you.
good neighbor. Yes, Emily. Emily RG.
One more, Dave.
Maybe Budweiser, an application to leadership when you don't have the before the Y's, and there's always someone in front of you showing you the way.
Okay. All right. How about Michael Rosenberg? You got something? You look like you've got something on your mind. Come on out with it.
The one word slogan that I can think of is "What's up?" And it
Okay.
relates to Toastmasters because, hey, what's up, everyone?
All right. That's good.
Well, thank you, Dave Shehorn. I appreciate that. Do you want any sort of feedback about those who spoke contemporaneously, or it's up to you?
No, I have already received my feedback by encouragement.
Yep. That was a fun section. Wish we had time to have everyone called upon, and I would dive under the desk because that was a hard question to answer. I couldn't think of a single jingle or catchy tune from past advertisements, except for I'm a Pepper. Whoever said the Dr. Pepper. I love Dr. Pepper too. All right. Well, let's get ready for our second speech. And our second speech is going to be a fabulous speech about optimizing Facebook posts. And the evaluator of our second speaker is Phyllis Harmon. Phyllis, would you please introduce our second speaker today?
Certainly. Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Carissa Yang is going to be a fabulous speaker today. She sent me an introduction, so I will read it so I don't mess it up. You may have noticed that Facebook will reformat your posts in unexpected ways at times. This can be frustrating. Carissa will teach us some tips on how to optimize your Facebook posts so they are more effective, look the way you intend, and appear more professional. Since Facebook is such a popular platform, it is worth understanding these basics, even if you just post casually. For her speech this evening, I will be evaluating her presentation on how I accept her information and whether it sinks in so that I can make my Facebook post look better than they currently are. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
Thank you, Phyllis. There are times when I would like to make my face look better on Facebook. Is that what it's all about? Well, maybe there's another chapter to that. Couldn't resist because we think about our faces. We might have more than a face right now, but the face is more important than it probably was like 2 years ago. Without further ado, I'm delighted to introduce Karissa Yang. Her speech title is Optimizing Facebook Posts. Karissa Yang. Optimizing Facebook Posts, Karissa Yang.
Thank you so much. Can people give me a thumbs up if you can hear me? Okay, great. Thank you so much. Because Facebook is such a popular platform and free to use, it does have great potential for outreach. So let's learn how to use it better. Even if you don't use Facebook, my talk is also for you. Because most of what I'll talk about applies much more broadly, even just to email or messaging in general, not just social media or digital communications. All aspects of our messaging impact its effectiveness. The exact link you share, the text, the images, and of course its quality. But this can include how consistently it displays across the range of devices people use to view your messages. I'll be talking about how to optimize each of these aspects. We share web links very often, so let's clear up how to find the best link to share. Just so you know, I will use the terms web link, URL, and web address interchangeably. They all refer to the same thing. Let me explain how many versions of the same link arise and why that can be a problem. Most media platforms wrap URLs. In fact, not just Facebook. Here's an example. Suppose I find a story on the New York Times that I want to share on Facebook. To do that, I'll just probably copy and paste that web address from the browser bar into Facebook. But once it's posted, Facebook actually adds a series of characters to the end of the URL. This is called a query string. A query string always starts with a question mark. And if it's from Facebook, it'll be followed by the letters FBCLID, which stands for Facebook Click ID. And that's used to track user activity. And in the back end, there's even a longer URL that Facebook generates. This is an example of a wrapped URL. It's encoded to let Facebook track all clicks to external sites. So here we have 3 different URLs that all open the same web content. Given so many versions of web addresses, how do you find the best link to share? Well, let me take you one step back, because sometimes there is a best known link. This depends on the platform. YouTube, for example, is designed for sharing videos. So it makes sense that it actually provides you with a share link. On desktop, it looks like this. On your phone, it looks like this. Facebook events, likewise, are also intended to be shared. So Facebook events provide a similar share icon. In all these cases, you click on that share icon and it provides you an option to copy that link. Other platforms like Eventbrite will create a URL for you that's longer, but then also give you an option to create a custom URL that is friendlier for sharing. But if you don't have that best known link to share because you're on a different platform like Facebook, what do? Well, here's an example. Suppose I clicked on a Facebook post, it opened this New Yorker article. I decided I want to share this story. Well, now you know. You should look at this URL and see if there's that query string. There is. See, it starts with that question mark, and then it's followed by FBCLID, that Facebook Click ID. That means the rest of that link is probably totally extraneous. You can delete it. Just test that link by itself in your web browser. If it works, there's your shorter link. That's the one you should use. Why does it matter? If you use long URLs with that extraneous information, you risk sharing data unintentionally. You also risk that link not breaking. The longer it is, especially with extra characters appended to it, or if it's wrapped. And it just looks unprofessional not to be sharing the shorter link and the link from the source. Okay, next I'll talk about text. Of course, in any medium, how much content you have affects the page layout, but also, more importantly, whether anyone wants to listen to your message. You've all been overwhelmed sometimes when you got a really big email, no paragraph breaks in it. It's kind of a turnoff, right? It's important to get to the point right away. People often just take a moment to judge whether to keep scrolling through Facebook, whether to keep or delete that email or save it for later. So they may never read your whole message if it doesn't grab them at first glance. Here's an example of a post from Toastmasters International that's pretty nicely designed. But as an exercise, I wanted to see if I could actually improve it. So I tried. And well, it took a couple of minutes, but I edited it and it was worth it. You can see that in my version, now you can see the whole post. You don't have to click a little see more link. But more importantly, now I can see 2 hyperlinks. I couldn't even see that second link in the first post because it was hidden. So this is kind of a big deal. You're going to save your audience time and effort, and now they're much more likely not to miss part of your message. Images. Control what's featured in your Facebook post. That's because Facebook's preview image is typically just default when you pull in a link, and it's not always ideal, and you can override this. So for example, that same Toastmasters post I was playing around with, when I first just pasted in, it automatically just pulls in this on the left, this preview text, this preview link, because it just looks at the first URL, it guesses. Toastmasters International was smarter. They knew how to get around this, and they designed a really nice promo graphic, and you had to swap that in. Very nice. I want to just show you how to do this in case you don't know. Here we go. So this is the original post. And what you do is when you roll over this preview image, you get these 2 little icons in the top left. If you roll over the one in the left, it says change preview. You roll off of it, you just see these 2 tiny icons. Roll over the trash can, remove all. A little more on this. The exact steps I would follow. Okay, you would get in here and click change preview. Then you can see both of the links previews you could choose from. But the other one isn't very nice either. So I think I'm going to remove all of them. I'll click on that remove all. Once I do that, I can go ahead and choose add to your post in a photo. And that lets me just navigate to my hard drive and pick that photo or that image I've nicely created or that Toastmasters created. And that's how I got from here to there. Much better. Sorry to flip so quickly. Finally. Always do some quality checks. And by that, I mean, at the very least, after you post it, if you used your phone to post, check it on the laptop and vice versa. Here we go. With an example. My friend posted this. I'm sure you used his laptop because it looks fine here. Short and sweet text, a relevant image, and a link that makes sense. But on the phone, whoops, your big link is showing. Oh no, you showed a link with a giant query string attached. Well, I wanted to see if I just fixed this URL, would it help? It did. I trimmed that extra query string off, and now it looks fine on the phone too. Wow, what a difference. Okay, the summary of this all. Craft your post intentionally. Share the best link. Be selective about the amount of text you use so that's effective in engaging the audience in the first sentence or 2. Have an image that works well with the post, and review the final composition on multiple devices to ensure its quality. In summary, making effective posts on Facebook is not all that different from what we constantly strive to do in Toastmasters. It's about being intentional about what you say by planning how you'll deliver that message. Don't include anything extraneous. Be concise. Plan to attract your audience's attention right away. And realize you can and should select visuals that work well to support your message given the options available to you. Practice makes perfect. Don't be afraid to start because that's how we all learn.
Thank you, Carissa. I was trying to take down all these notes. I'm probably not the only one. I learned so much. I'm going to remember like 10%, but I did take some notes. Wonderful speech, wonderful content. Wow. Well, I'm going to turn to Adam with my face, even though I can't see Adam at this very moment. I know he's there. Adam, would you please give us another introduction to the Mentimeter and your purpose today for this third Mentimeter?
Yes. Thank you, Toastmaster. I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. So what you'll see in the chat right now is a Mentimeter link. So what I want you all to do is go ahead and click on that link and respond to that link. And I would love to get your responses on what did you all think about Carissa's speech. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen. And let's present and see what shows up on the word cloud. Okay, so right off the bat, informative, descriptive, mind-blowing. I'm going to time myself on my phone for a minute. Clean slides, detailed. Informative definitely stands out. I completely agree with that. And I feel like I'll definitely have to go back and watch the video to kind of follow through on some of the tips and tricks Carissa shared. Lots of good content, eye-opening, educational. Yeah, I agree. There's a lot of these things kind of go under the radar and we don't think of these things. So definitely eye-opening and informational for sure. Thorough, challenging info, productive, amazing examples. Okay, my time is up at 1 minute. Keep your answers coming. I'm gonna go ahead and unshare and we will review this again towards the end of the meeting. Thank you all for participating. Back to Miranda.
I have unmuted myself. Thank you all for participating. Thank you, Adam. Our next section will be, I'll call upon Zeta to give us, please, the timing for Carissa's speech. Zeta, or Dr. Zeta O'Connor.
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. On Carissa's speech, supposed to be 8 to 10 minutes. It's 10 minutes and 40 seconds.
Well done. Thank you very much, Zeta. All right, well, we have an exciting new section, an exciting next section that isn't new, but every time is new because of the nature of this beast and the presenter, very energetic. Maren is going to present a section entitled Dear PR Masters. Maren, please take it away. You have about 4 minutes.
Great, 4
Including your
minutes for
engagement time. You have actually, sorry, 7 minutes including engagement time. Pardon me.
Thank you for the cue, Miranda. I appreciate it.
Zeta, would you time this section? Thank you.
I'm running the Dear PR Masters section tonight, which is our opportunity to take a question that we've heard from numerous people and bring it to a bigger audience. So those who volunteer or I call upon will be able to give their perspective on this question. This is the letter that came in. Dear PR Masters, help! I'm so overwhelmed by all of the social media possibilities. I know I should be doing something. There's Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and I don't know, probably more. Not to mention our Easy Speak and Free Toast. I'm a member of a small club. We're dedicated Toastmasters. We only have so much time. Where do I start? What do I do? What do you recommend? Thanks for any advice you can give. Show me the way, Sam. Would anyone like to give Show Me the Way, Sam some advice? Feel free to raise your hand. I'll be watching my screen. All right. I am going to call on. Oh, I see Marcy's raising her hand. Marcy, you're up first.
Thank you, Madam dear PR Masters. I would like to suggest to Sam, just pick one. It doesn't matter which one you pick one and begin there. Explore that and become an expert in that one platform. Yes, there are lots to choose from, but you only need to master one. And when you're confident with that, try another one. You'll find it easier, and I believe you'll get better engagement.
Thank you. Thank you. Stick to one, Marcy Field. Great job staying relatively within the 45 seconds to a minute. Fred Bergeron, I saw your hand, and then I saw Phyllis. Fred, you're up.
Okay, yeah, the guy with the 10-second pitch is actually before me. I would suggest when you create your website through Free Toast, to keep it pretty updated. Like you want recent pictures of your meetings. You don't want things that are 2 years old or older. You know, make sure you keep things current. Make sure you have a Zoom link on your website for your meetings, a clickable link, even directions how to get there. But first and foremost, make sure you keep any website you use updated and current. You don't want old contact information. You don't want old photos, things like that. And always post some type of achievement on there too, if someone got a DTM or best table topics runner or something like that. So that's my suggestion to you. Suggestions.
Thank you. Free Toast host first, Fred. Phyllis, your turn.
My suggestion is, who's your audience? Know your audience and know what platform they are using, because that's where you're going to get your biggest bang for your buck. Back to you.
Thank you. Phyllis's experience with pitching. David.
Every officer should have a committee, and every officer should know how to delegate to that committee. So recruit from within, find people who can specialize in what was suggested before, one particular social media, and then learn as a group to share what you have learned within that social media expert. So you have a subject matter expert who's part of your committee, whatever your committee is, you know, assuming VPPR. That back to you, dear PR.
Committees, great suggestion, David. John Constant, I see your hand up.
Thank you, Madam PR. Fellow Toastmasters, rule number 1, promote, 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 location, location, location. Have your website as the end all for everything. You post Facebook postings for local and upcoming events. You have videos on YouTube of contests for speeches. You have articles written by your members on how to on LinkedIn. You have meeting information on Meetup, and you put it all linked into the website so it's up to date and current. So you have all the social activities, even have press clippings and parties and stuff like that on Instagram. So each one of those feeds into your website. That way you promote your website and your membership and the features on different aspects, each with a different theme or different flavor, reaching your audience across everywhere. Back to you.
Promote, promote, promote. Emily, and then I see Jennifer Schmidt.
I would encourage Sam to take advantage of some automation tools and scheduling services so that you could schedule content on the front end and have it automatically parsed out to different services without a lot of human intervention.
How are we doing on time, Toastmaster?
We're actually doing well on time. We're a teeny bit ahead of time. It's now 7:52 and 6:53, and we've been doing this for about.
Sounds like we have a little
minutes.
time.
Yep, you have a little time. A couple more, I'd say.
Okay, Jennifer, what's your response?
one word or 3 words like location, 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 Canva, 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 because in Canva, and I'm a big proponent of it, you can select Facebook posts specifically to size. It's really easy to use and it's fun.
The last hand I see raised is Deanna. Deanna, I saw you put a comment in the chat earlier. Do you want to say something as well? All right, for me. You're welcome, Deanna. Thanks for being here tonight. I'm thinking you might have said Facebook is great. So if that's what you said, thank you so much for sharing. Deanna's very active on Facebook, everyone. Any other last minute people? And otherwise I will transfer it back to our Toastmaster. Did anyone not get to contribute that wants to contribute now?
We could fit in one more for sure.
Excellent. I see Cheryl has just raised her hand too. Cheryl, step in here.
Hello, fellow Toastmasters. Yes, to answer the question addressing how to keep your social sanity on social media, a good old-fashioned calendar never hurt anyone. And if you add in a mnemonic device that might help you keep it on the front of your brain on a daily basis, for example, Twitter Tuesdays, you send something out on Tuesdays, or maybe your Facebook Friday, or maybe it's a LinkedIn Thursday. Whatever helps you to keep focused and stay on track. Sometimes the easiest tools we have are just a pen and paper in a grid format of 4 to 5 weeks long, 7 days, 4 by 5, or I'm sorry, 7 by 5 grid. Back to you.
Absolutely. Mara, I'm going to put you on the spot. Thank you very much, Cheryl. Do one more, please.
Do one more?
Do one more, please.
I will. I'm going to call on Eric. We haven't heard his voice today. So Joan, are you raising your hand? I don't want to skip you because you got skipped on the last session. My screen has a delay.
Was that to me, Maren?
It was, but Joan got skipped on the last section. So if you don't mind, Eric, we'll
go to Joan
later.
No, that's okay. I wasn't saying, I wasn't volunteering. I have a splint on my hand, so it kind of stands out.
No worries. Eric, back to you.
You go ahead, Eric.
You know, these are all great suggestions. And I think the key word in poor Sam's letter was overwhelmed. It's easy to get overwhelmed. There's too much. And if you try to do it all at once, you're going to be frustrated and quit. I say take one at a time. Do Facebook well for 3 to 4 weeks till you really got the rhythm up. Then try something new. But the key is to keep those emotions under control. Don't get overwhelmed.
You know, I would like to say something to back Eric on that too, okay? Limit your time that you're on to give yourself a certain amount of time that you'll be on and then get off. That way you can, you set your parameters and abide by your parameters. You stay sane or saner or just sane.
I fully support that. That was one of my personal main hesitations. Maren is very competent, capable. I see her to be, but I am easily overwhelmed. So I need the same guidance. Thank you very much. All right. Well, Zeta has been hard at work timing, and we gave her extra work because we extended Maren's section, which is fine. And it was lovely having more participation. Zeta, would you please give us a little quick timing report about Maren's section, PR Masters?
Maren's section.
Please, thank you.
Maren's section is supposed to be 7 minutes, but We accumulated 10 minutes and 16 seconds.
And that was a very good use of time. Somehow we were a little ahead, and then I got worried we're going to be too short and people will be mad at me and other people. So we don't want that. So thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Well done. Well done. All right. We are now prepared to hear the evaluations of our speeches today. We do have a new section we're adding toward the end for general evaluators. So we want to allow appropriate time for our two evaluators to present their evaluations. And we want to make sure that we are going to be able to have a nice smooth ending, not rushing toward our finish. We have about a half an hour still to go in our meeting and things are going well. It's really fun hearing and seeing everyone today. All right, let's hear from our first evaluator today. Marcy Field will be evaluating Jennifer Schmidt's speech. Marcy?
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster. Jennifer, what a fascinating journey you were on, and what a tremendous way to share it with us. As I evaluate your speech today, I'm going to use a 3-1-1 method. 3 things that I really enjoyed from your speech, 1 thing that you could work on, and then an opportunity to challenge yourself with. Begin with, what I really liked was the logical flow that you put together in a sound structure. You had your beginning thought and you carried us right through. Very well done and concise in how you did it. I particularly liked that how you headed the slides. And then underneath that, you put the appropriate images. You had a good title on them and did that, especially when you put the teasers in for us. That was fascinating. And that was an opportunity. Like I said before, they flowed logically from one to another. And you used images from the voice. And that really took us back and familiarized those of us that weren't as familiar with the voice, those of us outside of District 7, what it's like. You provided great history. You researched not only what was happening with District 7 with voices, but you provided us information on other magazines that are available on other websites and other ways to promote it. So those were the 3 things. Oh, and when you talked about the images, and one thing that I wanted to learn a little bit more about was the ad at the back, but you said you liked how Phyllis used the particular images within, and then your ads were placed at the end. So I've got questions for you about those ads at the end for your club. One thing that I believed was an opportunity to work on some that I noticed is you teased us. We were wondering, what's that teaser? You were flicking a bit back and forth about it. And I think there's the opportunity here to use a bit more vocal variety. The great reveal! And just use your voice in that way to explain and let us know that it was pretty exciting, because it's pretty exciting to be on the cover. You know, oh, what was that guy? He was on the cover of the Rolling Stone, right? And you got there. The final thing that I think is another great opportunity that we missed, and I'd like to challenge you on, is to use your eyes to connect with your audience when you're doing your speech. And I know you're working with different mediums, putting it together, but the opportunity to engage so that we as an audience know that you're connecting with us. So to summarize, I have 3 things. Your structure that I liked the flow, I liked your headers on it, and I liked your use of the images with it. The an opportunity to grow is to use your voice more, variety, and just give it a bit of a punch. And finally, maintain eye contact. Overall, great. I loved learning from you. I loved learning about the product. I look forward to your next speech. Back
Thank
to
you,
you, Madam
Marcy. Thank you, Marcy. All right, our next evaluator will be Phyllis Harmon, evaluating Carissa's speech. Phyllis?
Thank you, Madam Toastmaster.
And
If you
please
recall,
time this. Pardon me for interrupting. Please proceed, Phyllis.
if you'll recall, before Clarissa gave her presentation, I said that I was looking for something that I could learn. And I think I said, did I learn anything was the question. Wow, Carissa, you blew my mind. I know that you have a great depth of knowledge in this topic. How do I know that? Just listening to you and the information that you shared, your slides for me were clean and easy for me to understand. So thank you for thinking of moi when you gave your presentation. I did find that the slides themselves were a little hazy. There is a new tweak in Photoshop that lets you remove that haze. And I think they would have served me better if they had been brighter. The words would have stood out just a bit more, which would have kept my attention, even though you did. I think visually it might have been a little easier on my old eyes. So I would like you to think about that when you're putting together slides. What do they look like from the audience side? Are they too hazy? Do they need a little bit of oomph, just like I do in the magazine? Oomph those pictures up a little bit. I would like you to think about using more vocal variety, just like you just heard from Marcy. You tend to have a monotone voice when you're speaking, and I think it's because of your depth of knowledge and you're calling it out, and it tends to make your voice a little flat. So when you're talking about chopping off those URLs, maybe you want to speed up a little bit, something to vary the pace. Thoroughly enjoyed your presentation. And because I am who I am, I don't want an article for Voices this time. I would like to take what you did on Facebook and put it on television. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster.
That was a challenge. And there are nights when I'm flipping through and I come across TV Toastmasters and I see Phyllis's name at the end and I see other people on there that I've met or seen before. It's kind of amazing. I can picture it. I can picture it. Yes, I can. Thank you very much, Phyllis, for that wonderful speech about the evaluation of Carissa's speech. Thank you very much. All right, we will have another section. I know Adam is capable and probably wishes to self-time, but we're going to do another Mentimeter. Adam, would you like to tell us about this one, please?
Yes, I'm super excited. It's time for the final reveal of the Pandora's box of evaluations. Okay, drum roll. Let's look at Jennifer's evaluation first. Okay, let's see what we got here. Okay, so Jennifer, I'm going to put you on the spot here. What are your thoughts or impressions on this? Anything stood out? Anything surprising? Any comments on this?
Well, inspiring definitely dominates the graphic, which is really great because that's what I wanted to do. I want people to try to pitch stories because it's a beautiful magazine. I mean, it's fantastic. I can't say enough good things about it. And I think it's, if you look at district options, it stands out for our district, but there are a lot of other great resources at other districts, but this one as a magazine is very unique.
Right, yeah. And CoverGirl is like a second one out there, and I think that's really That's a really interesting twist there. That definitely stood out for me. And that was your big reveal. And I really enjoyed that part of the presentation. So definitely, I think you've inspired a lot of people, and I thought that was really informative. Thank you, Jennifer. I'm gonna stick to my time of around a minute per person. So let's move on to Carissa's speech. Okay, let's see what we got here. Big, bold, blue, informative. Carissa, you're on the spot. Any thoughts, impressions, comments on the evaluation? Anything surprising?
This is a lot of fun, and I'm really glad people found it informative, apparently.
Right. I think, yeah, I think as we can see here, informative, like it's front and center. I thought there was a lot of people, I'm sure, took notes, and I thought there was a lot of actionable stuff here. So I think it was really content heavy, really high on tips and tricks and ways to improve. So I thought that was really useful and fun. So really great speech. I really enjoyed it. Okay. Thank you, Carissa. Thank you, Jennifer. Back to Madam Toastmasters Miranda.
Wow, inspiring, innovative, and captivating. Those are words that I think I saw or I thought of, and all those words on the Mentimeters. It's so much fun. Love the engagement, and we get to see what other people are thinking. And it takes very little time because we can multitask. We're definitely doing that in this meeting. All right, we have a next section with a wonderful new person who's joined our group very recently. That's Fred Bergeron. He is from a club in Florida. And Fred, I will put you a little on the spot to briefly introduce yourself, like 10 or 15 seconds. And then we're going to move to show your page. Fred is going to show us a web page, and we're going to give reaction to it. Adam, are you doing a word cloud on the show your page, or we're just doing out loud responses? I need a little clarification.
Interesting. I didn't think of that. I could cook something up real quick. That'll be a challenge for me. Let's do it, actually. Let's do it.
Well, let's see if it works for you. Again, this is my first time being Toastmaster of this club, so I too am practicing. All right, Fred, would you give us a super brief introduction of yourself? We're so glad you're here. And then show your page, please.
Okay, well, good evening, everybody, and thank you for having me. I just put the link to the page I'm going to be showing off in just a minute. I am the current Public Relations Manager for District 84, and it's been a challenge, and it's been fun too. We had a meeting with the regional advisor, and she said that we were the first leadership team to go all virtual. And I think we were able to pull it off. I've been in Toastmasters since August of 2014. I've been in leadership ever since. Ran for club growth director and didn't quite get it. So I'm gonna just be a panel Toastmaster. Next year, I'm an avid photographer and videographer, and I just took up podcasting that I've also applied to Toastmasters. So if I can share this screen, if you guys want to click on the link, I should already have the page saved. Let's see if I can find it here. I don't see it in here. I'm looking for. If I click on this link, will you guys see it?
You'll need to share your screen after you click on it, I believe.
Well, let me do that first then, okay? Because I had it on my desktop. I don't know what happened to it.
We need a speech about the gremlins of the internet.
Okay, I've got it pulled up. Now let's see if I can go back to screen sharing.
Do you have the ability to share, Fred? Is it working for you?
Let's see.
Okay.
I know how to screen share. I just don't see.
Usually it's at the bottom. Sometimes it's at the top.
Yeah, it's not. Oh, here it is. There it is, right there. Okay, can you guys see the page now? You should be able to.
We see a black screen, or at least that's what I see.
You don't see a Facebook page?
Try a different screen.
Yeah, you have to pick a page.
Yeah, pick a page.
Got it.
There you go.
Got it.
Okay, you see it now? Okay, I see it's a UI screen sharing. Okay, this is the page that I've been in charge of since July 1st. And if you want to compare this, I haven't seen a lot of people's other Facebook pages, but there's a lot of content on here. We just had a conference a couple of weeks ago, and these are some things that my team put together. This is our new photo that just got uploaded by my social media chair. This is something I think someone found on YouTube about building your confidence. This is our immediate past district director, Beth Ramsey, doing a speech. And this is something I posted for Memorial Day. But if you look, there's a lot of content on here as far as going to Toastmasters meetings. There's a video right here. Promoting Toastmasters. This is one that one of my teams put together for the conference. We did roving interviews, just randomly having people go around saying,
So this lady
right,
probably
you'll
working
see
with
this right here.
cards, and I was going to ask her, what are you doing?
Right now, I'm just separating cards. I'm gonna cut them so she can label them for the raffle.
So this is for the raffle. We even have a raffle here at the conference, and yes, there's a lot of things you can win. Show them around. It is getting ready. At least we have two more ladies here. Ladies, what's going on here? What are you doing? Get her there.
So Fred, why don't we pick one section where you'd like to have feedback? And let's focus on that. We don't have a lot more time.
So Kathy is going over. She is in charge of all of the displays that you've seen of our Toastmasters bringing from around the world. And that's Kathy Georgensen. I'm Gail Hill Smith. And
Wow, and I think you guys have done a great job because I see a lot of things for raffle.
Fred, may I offer one
right?
piece of feedback?
That was just
that
that was
with
just
your
go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna suggest your cover image is a bit cut off. The copy on top isn't totally visible, so maybe you can reposition the image slightly.
Okay, yeah, I was going to show you just another clip that we did real quick, and then you can give me your feedback. We also did an interview with International Director Roy Ganga. Maybe that's why I can't find it here. We did a podcast with, and some of my team did that. If I can pull it up here, I don't know why I can't pull it up. Oh, because it took it off the district page. That's it. Fine. I have
right.
no idea what this page is or why it even came up.
Well, let's wrap up there. This is very interesting, especially because you have live video on your website. And I myself have have not gained much experience with that. I know there are people in this meeting who have a lot of it, whether it's on web pages or actual TV shows. So we might be able to cover that topic the next time. Adam, again, putting you on the spot, did you want to do, or do you feel you could give us a quick opportunity for Mentimeter, and then we're going to move to GE? What do you got that today? Maybe Adam had a problem.
I don't know that
see
his
him.
audio is working correctly.
Okay. Well, tell you what, Matthew, I'm going to introduce you as Adam. There you are. Do you want to proceed, or what would you like to do?
Sorry, yeah, my internet is a bit spotty. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yes.
We can hear you. It's
Okay,
now
perfect.
8:19, so we just have like a minute, maybe 10 seconds. So please proceed. Thank you.
Okay, I'm gonna put the Mentimeter link on the chat real quick for people to chime in on their comments about Fred's speech. And should I go ahead and share my screen?
You can.
Fred, would you
stop sharing it on
stop
my end?
sharing?
Yeah, hold on. Let me do stop share on my end.
Sounds good. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and share. Let's see what we have here. Interesting, right off the bat. And Miranda, let me know when to stop.
Probably like 5 more seconds. 1, 2.
Candid conversations, 2K followers. It's really awesome to see this happening live. So it's pretty cool. Informative, informal, exciting content. Yeah, cool. A lot of good stuff.
Thank you, Adam. And this
Thank
is
you.
right here and now extemporaneous Mentimeter creation. Thank you very much. I haven't done it. I have complete. You've been our capable timer. You've had a lot on your plate. Would you please give us your...
On the evaluation part of the record.
Just the recording resuming.
Okay.
You're good.
On Jennifer's Marcy evaluating Jennifer is 3 minutes and 55 seconds. Phyllis evaluating Carissa is 2 minutes and 21 seconds.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Zeta.
You're welcome.
Without further ado, let's give a round of applause to Dr. Zeta O'Connor because she has had to be on the edge the whole time. Thank you, Zeta. Great speeches. I enjoyed and learned so much. I'm sure all of us have learned something today. All right, Matthew, you are on as our general evaluator. First time we've had that in one of our meetings. Please proceed.
Thank you so much. I'm going to offer an evaluation in 3 parts. The first is overall impressions of the meeting and feedback. The second is on our first speaker and first evaluator. My evaluation is going to be on the second speaker. So first, let's dive into some of my overall notes. I'm going to start by saying, I'm going on a limb and say this is the best unchartered club in Toastmasters International. Not only in terms of the value of the speeches that were provided, but also gotta love the experimentation that's happening here. It's really very cool to see. I want to compliment everyone here for the use of chat. I thought that was done really effectively in terms of providing us links and giving us an ability to interact with one another. I thought that the Mentimeter especially is really exciting, and I'll offer a piece of constructive criticism, take it or leave it, but consider giving the code before the
as we listen. Just an idea. I thought that another thing that we could do, and I don't know why this hasn't occurred to me, maybe it's because this particular club has a lot of presentations that are using PowerPoints, but perhaps we want to give our evaluators an idea of how they should tell the audience to listen to the speech, because there are a bunch of different speaker views, right? We can look at it as a grid, we can look at it as the speaker, we can put them side by side. So that's something to consider, because it's going to change for each person based on what they've chosen rather than you choosing for us. I want to congratulate everybody on all the enthusiastic applause. It's so great to see in a full club especially. And the last note that I have for overall is just that I love getting the Mentimeter feedback, right? The reveal that happens of that. I think that it's really neat to hear from the speakers, and perhaps also evaluator react to the word image reveal just as much potentially as the speaker as well. So there's another idea. So moving to the second area quickly, the first speaker, first evaluator, Marcy and Jennifer. Really wonderful job. I'm going to echo what Marcy said about eye contact. And I think that actually both of you, especially like in the introduction, Marcy, I love your vocal variety, especially on things like the great reveal. I thought that you did a really nice job of modeling the behavior that you were looking for. Marcy, I also thought you had great gestures that were purposeful and that you were using to help illustrate your ideas. So that was great for us. A note that I have for Jennifer, which is about the work that you had done with Phyllis, and Phyllis is here. So consider, especially if you're talking about somebody who is present, introduce them. Let us give them a round of applause, because it's super neat to have Phyllis Harmon in the house when she's also the great editor of this extraordinary resource for Toastmasters in District. Third area is speaker number 2, evaluator number 2, Phyllis and Carissa. Phyllis, I'm going to echo the previous comment. You had such exceptional vocal variety. And for example, you said, wow, you blew my mind, right? The modeling is so clear as an evaluator. It's so clarion, and it's just an absolute delight. Carissa, one of my big takeaways was the idea to be concise. I thought that was so apt, and it was really a great message for the whole meeting. For example, it was echoed in Dear PR Masters. Cheryl talked about keeping it simple, right? That was being concise. I thought Eric did a remarkable job of really listening to the question and pulling out the idea that the person asking the question was overwhelmed, right? Do one thing well. Thought that was also concise. My +1 idea there is just to consider, for example, when you're doing a web page, is to consider something like alt text for images as another way of providing accessibility for folks. I also love the test message. Overall, great meeting. Thanks for having me as a test general evaluator. Back to you.
Thank you, Matthew. Yes, you were a test general evaluator, and since it's my first time managing the whole time scene, I appreciate your concise presentation, your brevity, and your Well, I now have the pleasure of asking this at a little bit past our proposed time agenda. Yes, I'm about 4 minutes late, but it was worth it for me. What was your favorite thing? It would be especially nice, and I get to call on people. Wow, this feels like real power to me. I'm not really a power person or grab person, but it'd be excellent to hear from folks who've been here today and maybe haven't given any feedback. So I think I'll just close my eyes and randomly pick, or raise your hand and you get an opportunity to be the pickee. I have some ideas. How about
Deanna
Debbie?
raised her hand.
What's that?
Deanna raised her hand.
I'm going to give Deanna a chance to put something in the chat because I want to come back to her, but I also would like to hear from a few of you who've been there quietly.
I didn't actually hear anything. I'm on the very
Oh.
left cusp of everything. So
That's
if
okay.
you think of me, sorry about that. I just happened to pop in.
I'm so glad you did. How about Trish Adams?
I really liked the speech on Facebook. And I'd hoped to get more pointers on taking selfies, but I mean, that's fine. No, it was really good. I was surprised at how long they are, as I'm with bootstrappers, and I just caught that this meeting was going on tonight, and I thought, yeah, I want to know more about PR. So it was really nice. It was a good use of my time. I really enjoyed all the speeches.
Thank you very much, Trish. What we're all kind of learning is like, it's a way of life. It's like kind of like become cellular, you know, people are we're all rubbing off on each other.
It's
And
true.
Michael.
I feel smarter since I started
Cool.
attending the meetings.
Cool. Michael, did you have your hand up? I was looking at the other page.
Yes, that's fine. Yes, I have my hand up. So I like to check out different clubs because I get like a different taste of how different people like to run their meetings, and so that's always interesting for me to see. And I really enjoyed both speeches. I got a lot out of both of them, so I think I might be joining.
We'd love that. We need you, and we hope you will. I was not the very first adopter. I was kind of scared, like, will I fit in? Will I be able to do anything? So I thoroughly recommend it. All right.
Well, I definitely feel that way too. I don't know what I can add, but I definitely want to learn more. So
you will add who you are. That's my mantra. How about Leela? Did you want to make a comment, Leela?
Yes, thank you for having me here today. I came to see the cover girl speech, which did not disappoint, but I want to applaud you all for your innovation. The Dear PR Masters, the 10-second pitch. I love seeing how you're innovating and building on the Toastmaster idea.
Thank you, Leela. Appreciate your comments and your enthusiasm. Yay. All right. Well, we're technically finished because it's now 8:32, but I'm going to look in the chat for other messages in case I'm really glaringly missing something important. Charlie, how about you? I know you're there. I've met you before in Zoom meetings. We haven't ever directly spoken, but tell us what you thought. What was your favorite thing today?
Well, I learned that you have to log in early because it came right at the start time. I had no idea about the whatever that software we're putting in the comments. I was totally lost. So come early to orient. And I'd like to, a challenge I have for all of you, I'll probably come to try and learn more before I decide to join, is that my club, Civil Tongues, Wednesday at noon, is in dire straits. We're co-blue situation, only 7 members, and morale is low. I'm the newly incoming VPPR, and I'm a recovering introvert, very shy. So any help, I'll be hanging around at the edge of the firelight, so to speak, but I've got a whole lot to learn. So thank you for listening to this introverts anxious sharing.
Charlie, you are not the only former introvert, sometimes introvert, or maybe today and not every situation. So you are going to fit right in. You're welcome, and we want your club to succeed. All right. Deanna, I think you made a very wonderful comment in the chat, and I'll just read it aloud. That, let's see, can I get back to what it is that your favorite was, that you liked the Zoom share screen, I think. So thank you for that. Technically, we need to adjourn so that everyone knows we do adhere to time. It's now 8:34. Have I missed anything from those of you who have been Toastmaster here before? Because I might have missed something. Maren, Adam, Eric, how are we doing?
Well, we're going to close the meeting, but we do leave time at the end after the meeting for discussion about the club, any questions, especially since we're chartering. So back to you, Miranda.
Exactly. Phyllis?
I would just like to make a district pitch, please. TLI is this weekend. If you are a club officer, as Charlie is, please attend. And I believe that Carissa or Maren, one of you, is doing the VP of PR, and you'll want to go and hear them. All online. See you Saturday.
Absolutely. We have stars right here doing those presentations. I'll be there. And this is true. How this group came about was from one of the people on today's meeting. I think I need to say his name, dear Mr. Eric Winger, who said, what about a support group? Andrea Mitchell, who isn't here today, was presenting VPPR. And I don't know, I thought, well, I'll be the only one except for Eric, but look, there's more than one of us. So without further ado, Phyllis, thank you for that reminder. If you're a Toastmaster in District 7, please sign up for TLI. And we are now officially into our post-meeting mingle session. It's 8:36. Thank you very much for attending. It's been a joy to exercise my first wings as Toastmaster for this particular situation.